So when you are working with the MatPlotLib, this package has to be installed prior when you are working with your Python. So this is not an inbuilt package. You'll have to manually install it. We have the instructions in the next slides as well. And this is basically used when you are creating diagrammatic representation of a two-dimensional chart and graphs. So to install the MatPlotLib on Windows, you have to go to your command prompt and then type pip install matplotlib. In order to find your command prompt, you can just directly go to your search bar, hit CMD, it will, and then hit enter, and then this will be you will see a window which says command prompt, and you can just type this instruction pip install matplotlib. If you are installing this on Mac or Linux system, you'll have to open a new terminal and then type this following instruction. So if you are having any difficulties with installation of MatPlotLib, reach out to me or the TA and we'll be happy to help you. Okay, so in order to verify if the installation was successful, open your idle and then in your interactive mode, type import matplotlib. If it does not return any error messages, that means the installation has been successfully done. Okay, in order to make things easier for us, we are going to first, instead of just importing matplotlib, we are going to import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT, because the module pyplot is the one that will be needing to plot any bar graphs or any line graphs or anything like that. So that's the reason. To make things easier for us, we are just going to import the complete module dot the function associated with that module as PLT. So use the plot function to create a line graph. So the line graph has a horizontal x-axis and the vertical y-axis. We already know that is from the Cartesian coordinate system. And each point in the graph is located at x, y. We already know that. So we'll see how to program such line graphs. So first statement is import matplotlib.pyplot .pyplot as PLT, and then inside your main function you can define x coordinates and y coordinates, which are two lists in this case, and then I'm just using plt.plot x coordinates comma y coordinates, my list names, and then plt.show. This is your graph. So you can change the lower and upper limits of x and y axis by calling the x limits and y limits function. So that is plt.x limits, your x minimum is 1, your x maximum is 100. plt.y limits, where your y limit starting is 10 and your maximum value is 50. So when you are doing that, okay, so this is the one with no modifications. This is just the raw one. We'll see all the modifications that we can do to make this graph look much better. So that is, first thing is we are going to assign the x limits and y limits. Next, we can also customize the tick mark. So each tick marks, wherever you want the x ticks and tick marks, you can use the x ticks and y ticks functions, and you can have that with a dot, or if you want it to be a particular symbol, you can do that by using the marker keyword. We will see how that works. And the first argument is a list of tick marks, and the second argument is a list of labels that specified at that locations. So plt.xticks, plt.yticks. So you have x coordinates, y coordinates, plt.plot, x coordinates, y coordinates, and the marker here is O. Now you have the title. If you want to add a title, then we can do plt.title, sales by year. If you want to add the axis for your x and y axis, you can have plt.x label, plt.y label, and then customize the tick marks. So this is the these are all the locations and the ticks, and these are all the labels, right? So this is all the list of tick mark locations, and these are all the list of labels. So next, if you want to add a grid, this is basically if you have ever looked at a graph, you will see lines, right, with the which is like a grid. So I'm just making this true to represent a grid, and then show. Once you execute this program, this is how we are going to see it. So you have your 0 to 5M, 2016 to 2019, 2020, which are the labels. You have your x-axis label, y-axis label, your title, and then the tick marks. So tick marks should be here. So I think I have another graph which represents better tick marks. So you can have the marker and argument to represent the tick marks. So displays rounds as dots, squares as markers, small stars, diamonds, upward triangle, downward triangle, right pointing triangle, and left pointing triangles. So if you are plotting a bar chart, you can just use the my MatPlotLib.pyplot module to create a bar chart as well. And this function needs two lists, one with the x coordinates and another one with the y coordinates, which are basically the heights. X coordinates are the edges, so that is the width, and then y coordinates is the height. So left edges and heights, left edges dot comma heights, plt dot show, and plt dot bar will give you a a bar graph. Plt dot plot will give you a line graph. So that is the basic difference. And here you are going to see the widths and the heights. So in order to, if you want to make changes to your bar width, you can just use the assign that as your third argument in the plt.bar function. So left edges, heights, and bar width, which is now set to 5. So the bar function also has colors, which are in this order, but if you want, you can always change the colors as well. And that is color code is BGR CMYKW. So when you are like this is an example to represent how to pass a tuple of color codes as keyword arguments. So plt.bar, left edges, heights, and then color. So now each bar will be represented in that particular order of colors. So the first bar will be red, second will be green, third will be blue. Next it is white, and K stands for black. This is a black and white picture, so you basically cannot see any change in colors. But once you are executing in your lab sessions, you will be looking at some colors if there are any questions with respect to the bar graphs. So you can always use your X label and Y label and title functions to name the graphs. Next, third part of this plotting is by using a pie chart. You can just use the pie function inside the same .pyplot module. So the sum of values will be used as the value as a whole. That is how the basic working of a pie chart is. And each element will be the slice of a particular pie chart. The size of the slice represents the element's value in terms of the percentages of the entire values, which is the whole of the pie. So we have values is 20, 60, 80, 40, and plt.pie values. So it is considering this as a whole, and this is 20%. And next you have 60%, 40%, 60%, and 80%. But as this is difficult to denote which one is what, you can always use the labels to determine the labels. Okay, so slice labels is a list of all the labels, and I am using that as a second argument for my pie function. So plt.pie sales, and then its labels. So I have first quarter, it is 100, second it is 400, second quarter is 400, third quarter is 300, and next fourth quarter is 600. And I can also add the title by using plt.title. So the pie function will automatically change color in this order, but if you want to specify any particular order of colors, then we can just pass it as a tuple into our pie function. So values, comma, colors, and then whichever one that you want. So the first half will be red, next will be green, the third slice will be blue, fourth will be white, and fifth will be black. So with that, we are done with the plotting of data by using the MatPlotLib library as well. So in this chapter, we have covered lists, tuples, and various methods and built-in functions on lists and tuples. Okay, next will be your lab. So make sure to check out that video. Thanks.